Welcome dear students for today's online session 37 of BCA third semester, and the subject we are dealing today is the system software. This is affiliated to Kuvempu University. So in this today's session we are going to learn about the another phase of our compiler, that is our interpretation phase. So in the last session, that is in the previous class, we have understood the second phase of our compiler design, that is our syntax phase, and we have learnt about the task which has to be done, the databases and algorithms of our syntax phase. Learning objective of today's session is to learn about the interpretation phase along with the algorithm. The student will be able to understand the interpretation phase. This will be the today's session's outcome. So let's start with the interpretation phase. As you all know, this is one of the important phase which we are using in the compiler designing. So it is a collection of routines that are called when a construct is recognized in the syntactic phase, that is our second phase. Routines are used to create an intermediate form of the source program and add information to the identifier table. In this intermediate code generation, the compiler, it generates the source code into the intermediate code, and this intermediate code is generated between the high-level language and the machine language. The intermediate code should be generated in such a way that you can easily translate it into the target machine code. An intermediate representation of the final machine language code is produced in this phase, and this phase bridges the analysis and synthesis phase of our translation. So when coming to the databases used in this particular phase, here we use uniform symbol table, stack, identifier table, matrix and temporal storage table. See, this uniform symbol table, as we have discussed in our previous session, it is initialized by the lexical phase and contains the source force in the form of uniform symbol, and it is used as an input to the stack. Stack, it contains the tokens currently being passed by the syntax and the intermediate phase. And this identifier table, it is initialized by the lexical phase to describe all the identifiers used in our source program. Matrix, it is an intermediate form of our program. Temporary storage table, it contains the information about our MTX. So now let's see the algorithm. First is reductions are tested consecutively for match between top of stack field and the actual top of stack until the match is found. So when the match is found, the action routines specified in the action field are executed in the order from left to right. So when the control returns to the syntax, analyzer is being modified. There is no algorithm for this phase since it is collection of individual action routines that accomplish specific tasks when involved by the syntax analysis phase. So here we use the routines, do not necessary additional parsing, and it create new entries in the matrix or add data attributes to the identifier operator and operands and insert them into the matrix. So dear students, thus we learnt about the intermediate phase. Let us have a few MCQs on that. In the compiler, the function of using the intermediate code is to increase the chances of reusing the machine independent code optimizer in other compilers, whether it is true or false, and it is true. Symbol table is used in various stages of the phases of the compiler. Yes, it is true. You have seen that in our previous sessions also. In parse tree, the leaf indicates the operand and the interior node represents the operator. Yes, this is also false. You have seen the diagram. In syntax tree, the leaf indicates the operand and the interior node represents the operator. So we'll take this as MCQ, and the answer is true. Tree address is an abstract form of intermediate code, and it is also true. So today's summary is the student can be able to understand the interpretation phase. For dear students, for further references you can use the book authored by John Donovan, and the title of the book is System Programming.